Alrighty, welcome back. So I have some very good news. It's finally time for us to take JavaScript and combine it with our HTML and CSS. This is by far my favorite unit, my favorite topic to teach out of everything that I've spent my life teaching. It's really where JavaScript starts to pay off. So we've been doing some simple apps up until this point, simple to-do lists using alerts and prompts, and I know it's not very exciting, but that's all going to change now because we're about to really unleash the power of JavaScript. And in this unit, we're going to do things like make an interactive game. We're going to make a real to-do list with a real form, with real buttons and checkboxes and JavaScript behind it and animations and all sorts of really interesting, exciting things where you really feel like you made something. Not just a little command line or a little JavaScript console app, but something real that you could share. So the way that we do all of this is through a technology called the DOM, D-O-M. So this lesson is going to serve as an introduction to the DOM. We're going to talk about a few things in the next few videos. I want to start by defining what the DOM is, what those letters stand for. I want you to have a good understanding of why this is exciting. I'm going to show you some cool applications that other people have built using the stuff that we're going to learn. Then we're going to talk about what I call the select, then manipulate workflow. So let's get started. So why should you care about all of this? Well, there are so many reasons. Virtually every big web app out there right now, things like Twitter and Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Gmail, they all use a ton of JavaScript. And most of that JavaScript is interacting with the DOM, interacting with HTML and CSS. So we interact with the DOM to do things like games. We could make tic-tac-toe, we could make a platforming game like Mario. We can use it to do more practical things like drop-down menus, form validations. It's how we make web pages interactive. It's how we can add animations. And the last one here really sums it up. Pretty much every awesome site ever, although really just in the last few years, uses a lot of JavaScript to manipulate the DOM. As I mentioned earlier, I am going to show you a few examples first before we start defining these terms, talk about what the DOM is, how it works. I want to show you a few websites. So the first one is just Google. And I don't know how much you pay attention to this, but when you start to search for something on Google, like hello, notice how I get this thing that appears. This is all HTML. This is some sort of div or something that's being hidden and shown, and it's changing as I type things. Like if I type Hello Kitty, I get new results. That's all done with JavaScript. So this is the kind of thing that we're going to be able to do after a few videos. Of course, we won't be able to write the backend that Google has, but we'll be able to do the front end stuff here. All of the HTML, all the CSS, all these effects that you see, we'll easily be able to replicate. So the next thing that I want to highlight is on Udemy's website. There's this Browse Courses button, and when I click on it, I get this slide out menu that pushes everything over to the right, and I have all these categories to pick from. And as I hover over a category, you can see I get this sub menu that pops up. So that's all done with JavaScript. Things are being added to the page, new HTML elements. These are probably list items and anchor tags. They're being added to the page, they're being hidden and shown, and color is changing as I scroll over things. Lots of interactivity. So the next thing that I want to show is one of my favorites. It's a website called Pad-a-Tap. So this is a little bit different. It's not really a web application that you would use, but it's a really fun toy and a great tech demo of what you can do with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So I highly recommend that you go ahead and try this on your own, padatap.com. And all I have to do is start typing on my keyboard. And every key that I press corresponds to a sound that plays and a cool animation that plays. So let me show you an example. Here's another one. So you can get lost on here. So this sums up the kind of thing that we can do. Interactivity, where I'm pressing a key. So code is running only when I press a particular key. And then that code is not only playing a sound, but it's also changing what we see visually. So it's not just console.logging, it's not just using alerts. It's actually changing the screen, the HTML and the CSS that we see. So hopefully those examples got you at least a little bit excited about all of the awesome stuff we're about to learn.